Some concerning news coming out of New Jersey. Watch out, New Jersey bill to require all e-bike riders to register, get insurance. So let's have a look at this bill. Synopsis: requires low-speed electric bicycles and low-speed electric scooters to be registered with MVC and to be insured. So the end is coming soon, folks. E-bikes are going to be a fad. And why did they come up with these rules and regulations? And that is from the e-bike deaths. E-bike deaths are a big deal every time they happen because they happen with young folks. However, when you look at the actual stats behind it on electric.co, there are some stats. It was 192,000 car fatalities compared to 119 e-bike fatalities. And these stretch out from a 4-year period. For 4 years, there's 119 deaths compared to 192,000. So speaking of percentage-wise, that's not even 1%. That's not even 0.1%. That is 0.06%. Imagine having a huge fuss over a stat that's statistically insignificant. And I'm not saying that we should ignore people getting into crashes and having fatal crashes, but people can die from walking. Take a look at pedestrian deaths. There are 7,388 pedestrian deaths just by getting hit by motor vehicles. That is a large amount compared to e-bike linked deaths. Okay, that's just 1 year. 7,388 because they got hit by a motor vehicle. So what does that say? Cars are the number one killers by far. It's not even close. And yet we're treating e-bikes like cars by forcing users to have license and registration. I mean, that's going to reduce the amount of e-bike users on the road by a large margin. So in the end, you're trying to drive these e-bike users back to their cars, basically. And cars are going to cause more accidents and cause more deaths. So the reasoning for this e-bike law isn't that clear. Let's continue on with this article. The news follows on the heels of other major e-bike crackdowns, including a California plan to require a special driver's license for e-bike riders and a new practice by Dutch police by stopping e-bike riders and performing a roadside speed compliance check. Let's check out the California issue first. It is by this assembly lady, Tasha Boehner, not really sure. They announced the introduction of my AB 2234, which will increase e-bike safety, especially for young riders on our shared roads. So what is her angle? Let's take a look. Okay, so that's her, and this is her website and her job in the state assembly. I continue to champion making a real difference in our lives by funding the transit and transportation projects most important to the everyday lives of our residents. So if she's dealing with public transit, then she needs more people on the bus. I'm just saying that that's part of her job. But her other part of the job is transportation projects, which should be including more bike lanes and giving people easier access to use bikes. Because let's face it, when you're buying a car, which this law would do, drive people back to cars are fairly unaffordable. I believe the average cost of a new car payment is $700 a month, which is more than many e-bikes. Okay, that's just 1 month payment. And then it costs more than many of the low-speed e-bikes. I don't see that all that practical. Moving on to a small side tangent. This is from MSN, and what the opponents have to say. Opponents argued that the proposed requirements could impose undue financial burdens, particularly on low-income users who rely on these vehicles as their primary mode of transportation. During the hearing, 2 insurance industry representatives, but wait for it, stated that there was currently no insurance available in New Jersey for e-bikes. Right now, there is no product. The insurance industry is against this, which is kind of mind-blowing because they don't have an item to sell. You need time to develop it and roll it out. We're taking years, not months, to develop it. So they're not completely against it. They just haven't figured out how to charge people. And the reason why they're against it, I mean, it's going to be required by law in New Jersey. So every liability insurance policy issued in this state on a motor vehicle exclusive of an automobile as defined in section, but including motorcycle and autocycle, and on a motorized bicycle, low speed electric bicycle, or low speed electric scooter, insuring against loss resulting from liability imposed by law for bodily injury. So the long story short is that because this thing is going into law, they need to have this insurance available. And if they're not providing insurance available, then they could get into a lawsuit because they're not providing it for all of the vehicles. Because, okay, so they're providing for vehicles, but not these type of vehicles. So it could be a problem for them. And they don't want to face the lawsuits. It's kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. So let's take a look at the Dutch thing, all right? The Dutch speed compliance, okay? Dutch police found a way to test e-bike power on the side of the road. So this is an e-bike dyno. The Dutch police have a new weapon in their battle against high-speed and high-powered electrical bicycles. I mean, this is kind of silly, right? I mean, imagine driving a car too fast. Are you gonna dyno test the car and make sure that it's within spec? I mean, I don't know. It just seems a bit crazy, right? That you're gonna get pulled over. Back in the day, okay, and I'm a little bit older than some folks here. There was a GoPed issue around. People would freak out because GoPeds were a big thing. They were the electric scooters, and they were popular for some time, and those things went really fast, and that went away. Do you remember why it went away? Well, it's because people complained, just like what's happening with e-bikes, but people complained more because the GoPeds were loud, and they were even faster than the e-bikes. I remember there were some GoPeds that could go like 40 miles an hour. And aside from that, when you take a tumble, it is a total mess with the... Anyhow, so they went away. And the way they went away was because the police started enforcing the laws. Because if you're riding recklessly on the street, then you can get citation. Wouldn't it make sense if that same type of action were performed on e-bikes instead of license and registration? Nobody had to license and registration for a GoPed, and all of those went away by just people getting cited for being reckless. I mean, there's a lot... The people that are riding e-bikes are like a lot of older folks are riding it, and a lot of really young folks that are riding it. And I'm not trying to say that the young folks are causing these problems. Well, yes, they are. In my opinion, it would only take a very short amount of time to get the word out that the bikes are being cited. Let's say a kid is recklessly driving on the other side of the lane. Cop sees them and pulls them over, gives them a ticket. And if the cop does that consistently throughout, let's just say a few weeks, the word is going to spread. It's going to spread like wildfire. All the other students or young child, they will tell their friends. And their friends with e-bikes, they're going to get the message that if you mess around, you're going to find out. And your parents are going to find out because they have to pay that ticket. So I think if they want to be more proactive, a nudge to the police department would be all that it takes. It doesn't take much more than that, because We're talking about safety of the citizens. The death rate that is occurring is statistically insignificant. I mean, a low speed e-bike, class 1, class 2, which would have to get a driver's license in New Jersey, those things can only go up to 20 miles an hour. And I mean, the power cuts off after that. And 20 miles an hour, it's pretty fast. You can hurt somebody, but you're probably going to end up hurting yourself the most rather than somebody else. And e-bikes beyond that point, yes, they should slow down, but I don't want to make a hard stop rule. You understand what I mean? Because in the urban environment, in a congested street, if you're going that fast and you're flying by all of traffic, then sure, you might get in trouble. But if cops start issuing those citations more frequently, people will get the message. And you're not going to be causing much harm other than for yourself if you're on the streets driving this way. I've never seen anybody drive that fast on the sidewalk, and I am out and about on my e-bike a lot. So the issue with license and insurance for e-bikes with class 3 classifications, if you're going to drive fast or ride fast in wide open areas, I don't see a problem with that. If you live in the country and you're not in the urban sprawl, you want to go faster, and you should be able to go faster. Granted, it's at 28 miles an hour at top speeds. I think reasonable adults can figure out on their own if that's okay with them. I personally don't like going that fast, or even 25 miles an hour, but that's me. I do think it should be available for others to go that fast if they choose to. Because, sure, in a very congested city, that doesn't make sense, but we don't limit the top speed of vehicles. My car, my minivan could go like 100 miles an hour. Doesn't mean that will. There's no limit to it. It's just that it just seems kind of silly to limit these e-bikes, and you know the saying, you give them an inch, they take a mile. I'm just saying that we don't work with these limits well, okay? Because they're going to encroach, and they're going to eventually ban e-bikes. Then once again, you can discuss that just with the city police officers to enforce the rules more often, and that would cut it down. And that's how GoPed disappeared. It's because people were getting a crackdown so often that they just didn't want to ride anymore. And this would have this and these laws in New Jersey. You know, it's one little area. You think it might not affect you, but I assure you, people from California are looking at New Jersey. New Jersey's looking at California, and pretty soon other states, other municipalities, they're going to be looking at these laws, and they're going to do what they do, okay? That's their job. These legislators, they just create laws like all day long. So they're going to make similar laws to California, similar laws to New Jersey, and then it spreads like wildfire, and it's the end for everyone. So what do you think? Do you think that the citizens of the United States can figure it out on their own? Or do you think that everything needs to be legislated away? Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Take care.